What's going on, people? Jada Black here, back with another video. You know, I was looking at some interesting content. There was one particular video that piqued my interest. This female was talking about misogyny and dating. That was actually the title. And I couldn't tell you, yes, it was a black female, and I believe she's Afro-Caribbean with a heavy UK accent. And I can tell by listening that she probably heard what somebody said, went and made a video and started to basically regurgitate what they heard, because there was no real feeling there, you know, especially not when you're doing beauty and makeup tutorials to show women how they can get them the type of men that they want, or to get attention from men, period. And I'm just going to be blunt and honest with a lot of you females. If you are embracing feminism, it's going to keep you single forever. You're not going to get the type of men you want. Strong men do not want a woman who calls or claims to be strong. I'm sorry. No man worth a damn wants a woman who's sitting around here talking about how she's a feminist or a womanist, talking about misogyny and patriarchy. Any woman talking about that nonsense is not dateable. I'm sorry. That's why these females are mad at the world, because men see through the BS. Now, when it comes to rejection, I think women have a harder time dealing with rejection than men are, and men do. And I'm going to tell you why. Because women can be very, very vicious when you either ignore them, when you're not checking for them, when you probably had some type of dealings with her in a sexual manner, and then you just didn't give her the relationship she wanted. Oh, she's gonna be vengeful. This is why they say, you know, the saying goes, you know, hell have no fury like a woman scorned. You know why? Because most women who are scorned are women who've dealt with rejection or dealt with bad relationships. And we've all seen the lengths that women will go to when they're rejected. Now, I will say this, though. There are men who have done weak beta things when they are rejected. Okay? There have been stories where men have taken the lives of women who rejected them, even though there's not a lot of those stories. But we've heard them, of course, because you got people that love to always paint men in a negative light when it comes to women. Okay? They do. But that's not the norm, okay? That's not the norm. Those stuff happen, and it's very unfortunate. And I'm willing to call that out every single time. But we need to be real here. Okay, there are more women than there are men. Okay, so when you're looking at the dating game, you have a very select group of men who a lot of women are checking for. They're checking for the top, let's say top, but they're checking for a 15 to 20 percentile of most men. Okay, and those are the men who have jobs, careers, make a lot of money, don't have kids, at a marriageable number, even though you got women that are pursuing older men who don't care anything about getting married anymore. And the problem is that you have females who are embracing an ideology, an independent woman ideology, that is going to keep them in the dating market for a long time. You're not going to get signed by a team. No guy's going to be checking for you. Men are a lot more socially intelligent when it comes to dating. Okay? This is why more men are single. They see power in being single. Women see power in being in relationships and marriage. This is why they want marriage way more than men do, because there's no downside to a marriage when it comes to a woman. There really is none. And again, this video ain't an attack on women. Okay? This is me just speaking on facts about rejection. Okay, I rejected a few females. Okay, they be in their feelings, they be hurt. Okay, I've been rejected by females, and it hasn't happened often, but you know, it is what it is. You move on. I've seen dudes personally get rejected by chicks. They're not trying to call her names and, and get violent with her. That's a myth, people. Now, it does happen, but I'm just saying from my own eyes, from stuff I've heard from other women. I've never had women come to me and say, this dude got mad because I rejected. Now, I have heard some women say this to me at times, but for the most part, the women that I've talked to personally have had, very good experiences when it comes to guys approaching them. They never say that this guy got angry when I said no. Are there guys out there who are persistent? Yes. Very persistent. But I also want to talk about this. When it comes to pursuit, why is it that you got women now talking about they don't want to be pursued? When we all know that's a lie. I would say 90 some odd % of women love being pursued. All you have to do is ask them. But here's the kicker here. They only want to be pursued by the men that they want. And that's the problem right there. You see, this is why you got women who are try to look like certain female celebrities, because they want the same type of attention those women get. This is why they're on Instagram showing you their ass, showing you their tits, because they want attention from men. They want those men to message them, approach them, ask any woman that you're around. They're going to tell you that they would rather be pursued and approached than them approaching men. But we know women approach men all the time. They just do it on the sneak tip. They do it when ain't nobody around. Because they can't handle rejection. See, a man will approach a woman when there's plenty of people around. But you have some women out there, man, they can't take rejection, man. So they're going to approach a dude when they think nobody's paying attention. Women DM and message dudes all the time. So don't get it twisted. You reject one of these females and see what happens. Okay, they'll be calling you. See, we as men, we don't have to go out and talk about how women have what women have said to us or done to us when we rejected them. We don't need to do that. Women love to brag about being approached by this guy and that guy, but they love to also tell you about, but they'll also tell you about the times where dudes didn't take rejection well. But they love being approached. So I don't know why this narrative is going out that they don't like to be approached. Why they're saying this stuff now. It's almost like they're saying this because they want to make excuses for why they've been single for 2-3 years. Or they've been single for a whole year or so, and they think they the shit. They think they're attractive and beautiful. They think that men should be falling all over them, but what they realize is men want to sleep with them. Men ain't trying to be in a relationship with them, and I think that's where what comes into play here. You have men who will approach women on a let's just sleep around. And also, whenever you have females who want to be approached and glamorized in society, whenever they use words like patriarchy and gender roles, misogyny, those are the types of women that should be rejected, that you shouldn't be approaching. But I guess if you don't know anything about a woman, the point of approaching them is to get to know them, or at least enough to get their number. Then you conversate. That's the end goal, right? That's the end goal when you're out here and you're dating and this, that, and the third. But what I also heard through listening to content in certain videos was sexualization of women. You got certain females who are fake outraged about being approached because they feel like they're being sexualized. Women don't want you to message them certain things. I understand. Listen. It is bad when you as a guy continuously try to holler at a female that's not interested in you. Okay, we all know this. But you have a lot of women on social media, especially Instagram, who sexualize themselves. But they want to make it seem as if we as men When we approach them, we're approaching them in an aggressive manner, and we're just trying to have sex with them every single time. That may not be the case in every point. Now, some cases it is, because guys are being very direct about that, and women love a direct man, which I'm going to get into. But how are we sexualizing you if we're just approaching you? If we're just approaching, why do you feel necessary to act fake outraged because you may not be attracted to certain guys? You see, women only want to be approached by the men that they like. They say that we only seek to date women that we want or we like. It's the same thing with them, but it's heightened when you have females complaining about being approached. But then we'll brag about being approached, but in the same token, we'll complain about being approached. It doesn't make sense, right? Well, I guess if they're being approached by men that they don't want, they're going to complain. But what's funny is that you have these same women who make videos talking about how they don't want to be approached like that, but will complain about colorism. We'll talk about men don't want them because they're dark skinned. But then you will sit and make a video about why you don't like being approached and misogyny and dating. What does that have to do? What does the two have to do with each other? But you will hear these arguments. They'll talk about, oh, y'all just want white girls. But you get in your feelings about us approaching you if you're not interested in us. But then we show interest to women outside of a certain racial group. Now you upset. You want to know why y'all want them white girls. Why you going to Brazil? And you see these things, man. They only want attention from the men that they want, people. And I'm telling y'all dudes this, man. They only want attention from the guys that they want. Okay? You are considered an afterthought if you don't have the height that they want, if you don't have a certain, you're not toned and chiseled. Okay, you don't have swag. You know, you're not a fashion ninja. You're not walking around trying to, keep up with trends like women do. They're not gonna like you. They're not gonna want you to approach them. Okay? But this is why I tell y'all it's best sometimes to be laid back. To sort of just be in your own element. The women will come to you because women do approach. Okay? If you are a guy who's constantly being approached by women, you will understand what I'm saying. Okay, women want to be the aggressors in a lot of situations. They want to pick and choose the type of men who they talk to, who approach them, And by the way, if a woman is constantly asking about height and things of that nature, that's not the type of woman you should deal with. A woman should want to be with a guy regardless of his height, because a lot of women out there are either average to short for their own height. So to be seeking a guy who's 6'6", 6'7" is really it just shows how small-minded you really are. Okay. Now, I will say this though. There are guys out there who are thirsty. There are guys out there who can't take the hint. I'm not saying that they don't know how to take the hint. I want people to understand this. I've seen it. I've seen dudes, go at it. Well, I don't think online and offline are the same things, but online, I think it's a lot more hilarious when a guy gets curved and he continuously tries to talk to a woman. I think that just shows that guy might be mentally ill. And he should, that is what is looked upon as what men shouldn't do. And if he gets put on blast, I think he probably did that to himself. If a woman tells you no and you're still contacting her, then you are the type of guy that can't handle rejection. And there's a lot of those guys. Some of those guys will claim to be red pill. Okay. Now, I want women to understand, if you are a woman who's uncomfortable with being approached, that tells me that you're used to approaching dudes. You're not you don't like to be approached by men because because you're thinking that he's there just to sleep with you. And you got women who would rather approach men because if they're approaching a guy, then that guy, I feel in their mind, he's not thirsty. In their mind, the first thing on his mind is not sleeping with her. You know, he's willing to get to know her. That's in their mind now. And I want women to understand that's not always the case. You know, men are not so different when it comes to women and how they view them. I want y'all to understand, just because a guy's thirsty does not mean a guy who doesn't show thirst doesn't think the same thing when he sees a woman approach him and she's attractive. He's wanting to smash too. Okay? But I guess that's how you view certain things in life, you know?